Hey friends, I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey now as I create a new piece of art. Right now I have this 18 by 18 canvas. As you can see, it needs a little bit of love. It's a little bit bunchy in areas. So really what we're going to do now, I've mixed up this sort of just water and a yellow oxide or a burnt umber, very diluted paint mix. So there it is. And I'm going to bring this over and I'm going to start painting on the canvas. So what's going to happen as this dries, it's going to pull the fibers and it'll tighten up that canvas for me so that I don't have to re-stretch it. So I usually do diagonal motions. Back to my stuff again. Will I do more than one coat? It kind of depends. I'm going to have to let this dry, see what happens. Sometimes I use a hair dryer, other times I don't. So here's this first coat. Doesn't matter too much. The thing I also love about doing this sort of underglaze is I love that it adds sort of a glow to the painting. So it really does serve more than one purpose. For some of these looser canvases, it allows me to tighten it up. So it's more like a drum when I hit it. It's got a really nice sound to it, and it also means that the fibers are stretched better. So anyway, we've got trying to get rid of any weird stuff that might be in there. And I just listen to that. So we're going to let that dry. And there's some of my stuff. So we will come back in a little while and show you where we're to. As you can see, that most of that paint is dry, just little flecks which I'll just wipe out with hand. But there's no more wrinkles, which I'm super pleased about because there's nothing worse than a loose canvas. It's really hard to work with. So the plan is with this piece is to actually do something inspired by Hurricane Larry, which just hit Newfoundland Friday night into Saturday morning. It was a Category 1 hurricane, and it had done some extensive damage to properties and places around, especially eastern Newfoundland, caused great storm surges. It also had ripped part of a roof off a school, lots of ripped up trees. Extensive damage to people's homes, lots of fences blown down, that kind of thing. So I want to do a piece based on Hurricane Larry. So one of the things that my test is that when I'm happy with the canvas in terms of how taut it is, how tight it is that as a musician I think of it as like it's like a drum. So now it's at a level where I feel confident to paint on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a little palette with some black paint, and I'm going to sketch in an idea, and then from there it will become covered. It'll become the finished piece. But this is just laying in the initial idea. Everything is against me today. So I'm just using a flow acrylic here, which is more of a thinner paint, but it's good for doing sort of rough sketches. Now sometimes I use, instead of just black, I use a mixture of like a dark blue and a purple instead of just black. But today, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to use black, and I've done that a lot in pieces from the past. So I'm just going to roughly sketch in an idea, and I'm going to go from there. So the storm actually happened at night, so this is going to be a night scene, and I want to show rain coming down and pounding on a house. So that is the composition of this piece. Okay, so this is where I'm working with, and from there we will add more stuff. So this is the beginning of this piece, which is, like I said, it's going to be about Hurricane Larry and dealing with this storm that we were ravaged with a couple days ago. So next step, you'll start to see color and more stuff happen with this. Alrighty, so we've got the dried underpainting already. I've just added some color here. It's a very light blue, and then we've got more of a sort of just a little bit of darker, obviously, blue that I'm going to mix. And then this is phthalo blue, which is darker again. So we're going to go in now. We're working from the background closer to the foreground. So some of these lines are going to start to disappear. Currently putting in the wave section. One thing you'll notice, and something that I've been really into lately, is working very impasto and letting those brush strokes show through rather in certain sections. The color that I'm actually working with right here is an iridescent sort of turquoise, and it's really lovely. Obviously this is going to look a lot more interesting in the actual original and not a print, because I don't know how well that iridescent will show. So yeah, I'm just going in. I'm trying to go over these black lines more with blues now, because that's what I'm looking for. I'm working back and forth between different colors. I don't often wet my brush or clean my brush when I'm working. I like where the colors marry and come together. I think that's really cool, and you often come up with some really nice blends simply from doing that and not always cleaning your brush. Now, within reason, obviously. So I'm just building up this section here. There's going to be a much darker shadow coming in here as well. Well, you can start to see how the colors are starting to come in there. I really enjoy the sky. There will be maybe a few more brush strokes, but not much. The waves are going to have some highlights of white as well, which we don't have yet. But you can kind of see how it's all coming together. So, like most of my newest paintings, this house here is going to be that Napathol red, which is right there. Just look at that color. Isn't that beautiful? So rich. I just love it. So we're going to start laying it in. Really starting to see this come together now. I'm basically just putting stuff where I want it to be now. This is my favorite part of the painting because it's where I get to really put in those little fine details that make, I guess, my art my art. And so this piece is, like I said, depicting my idea of, you know, the hurricane coming in Friday evening into a small local area, the waves crashing, and just the fury of nature. So I'm just gonna let you see a little bit more, and I would think the next time that I show you anything, it'll be when it's complete. The lines for the waves, lots of lines in the sky, because I really wanted to show that fury, the wind blowing, the trees cracking. So that's what I'm working on now, and the next time you see this, I would think it'll be done. Well, it's been a lot of fun, and it looks like that this piece, which I'm going to be calling "Batten Down the Hatches," is done. That's a saying. I think of it as a Newfoundland saying, but it's probably could be from English culture, I don't know, but here in Newfoundland, when we say we're preparing for a storm, especially on the water, we say batten down the hatches. Make sure there's nowhere where the water can get in. So it's been a really cool piece to do. It's given me a way to express how I felt about the hurricane, and I certainly hope you guys enjoy this painting and let me know what you think.